Hey everyone, welcome to the Do the Thing podcast. This is your host, Stacey Lauren. All right, guys, well, here we are. I have our Do the Thing champion for our Find Your Voice challenge. And oh my gosh, who would have ever believed that 17 days of dares would do the thing that it had done for so many people? It has been such an amazing transformational experience to see the people that have gone through that challenge and just the success that they each had and how much they grew. And our next guest just really blew everyone away with the things that he was sharing and the growth that he had and him stepping outside of his comfort zone and just being vulnerable and really kind of opening the space up for other people to be vulnerable too. And I just think that's what Do the Thing is about. And that's what the community is about. It's really just giving this safe space for everyone to feel open and really be able to feel connected because they're all going through the same thing and they want the same thing for their life. And so I am just so unbelievably excited to welcome Jeremy to the show. Hey, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here.
No problem. I appreciate you having me.
So I love the idea that this was your first challenge with us. So a lot of people in the community, they've gone through a couple challenges. We've had 3 challenges so far. We had 2 Dating Dare challenge, and this was our first Find Your Voice challenge. And I love that you just joined and that you were able to just really just blaze your trail. And you really did open up the space for everyone to be able to share as well.
Yes, I come across it and it was just something I've never done before because I've always just been, as a male, like I've said in my dares, you're taught to most of the time to keep your feelings in and keep your thoughts in and stuff like that. And I thought, why not? Just step out my own comfort zone by joining. And then each dare, I just took it as a challenge for myself. So.
Yeah, I would love to hear about that because when you see something like this and then you decide to join, did you have any fear or hesitation about it? And how did you kind of go through that process?
I did have fear about it, but then I got to thinking, the people in the group, of course, I've grown to know some of them and talk to some of them on a regular basis and stuff like that. But in the beginning, they were strangers. I didn't know them. And when you speak, when I felt that I speak my mind around people that I'm close to, friends and family, I always worried about whether or not, what were they thinking? But with a stranger or somebody that I don't know, I could be able to freely open up and just say how I feel. And if they don't, I'm not worried about what their thought process is on it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I hadn't actually thought about it in that way. It's like you have this preconceived notion when you're talking to family and friends because they already kind of have these expectations of you or things that you might think that they expect of you. And then when you go into a community like this where it's just new and fresh and people are in a similar kind of life transition as you are, it sort of opens up that space even easier.
Yes. And I also, if I opened up and said how I really felt about each dare when I answered them, and I would read other replies, and for me, it's like a learning thing. As far as like, well, okay, somebody's kind of we're all going through somewhat similar situations, but yet somebody might see it in a different way than I do.
Totally. And then you're able to connect in that way because you feel not alone, you feel connected, but maybe just a little bit differently in the way that you approach things. I'd love to hear for the listeners, if you don't mind just sharing what the Do the Thing, Find Your Voice challenge was to you. What was it? Kind of explain it like they've never heard it before.
Oh, wow. Well, it's a series of dares that gets you out there and starts you thinking about things that you normally wouldn't think about. Most of the time, being a single person or thinking our thoughts, we're always thinking about what somebody else thinks of us. When you get out in the dating world, however that is, you think about, well, what does this person think of me? What does this person really think of me? But with the dares, it was more of, what do I think about myself? To put myself out there and be in that. And each dare was a little different on what to think about when it comes to yourself. And I liked it because they were all positive dares. There wasn't, what's one thing you would change about yourself, or what is one thing that you shy away from most of the time. So for me, it was more of a positive note with the dares.
And so when you approached the dare, how did you approach it? Did you have a certain thought process between how you were going to get them done? Because you did them all.
Yes, I did them all. Not really how I was going to get them done, but what I would do is when I would read the dare, as far as the question, first thing popped in my head. How would I answer that? And then I would take about 10 minutes and analyze, why did I think that way? And then that's how I would approach my answers from that.
I really like that. I hadn't thought about that before, because then you're looking at it in a different way. You're not only thinking, how am I going to answer this, but then why am I answering it like this?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so for the listeners, so with the dare, they pretty much had to either record it on their phone, or a lot of people actually did video, and then some people just felt comfortable typing it. And then other people just said they did the dare. And so the idea of this challenge was just to meet people where they were. And then with you, Jeremy, I think you did it a few different ways, right?
Yes, most of mine were typed out. I will admit that. I had one that I did a vocal, which I was in the beach in Florida at the time. So I did a vocal one on that one. But yeah, most of mine were just typed out. I have yet at the time to be comfortable enough to video myself. And actually I attempted, and I'm not just saying, I attempted the last dare of videoing myself answering the dare. But I bet I made 17 different videos and deleted them all. So it's just a comfort zone for myself, but I'm growing a little bit more because I'm here doing this. So
yeah, it's really cool. I don't know if you've heard me say this yet, because you're still new to the community, but things that I said, and you haven't said this, but this is things I've said I'm never going to do this, whatever it is. Even when it came to a Facebook Live, I said that the first challenge before it, I was like, I'm not going to ever do a Facebook Live. That's ridiculous. And then I got swept away with the community and then started doing Facebook Live. So it sort of evolves as it goes, which is kind of funny.
It does.
So what do you think you learned the most about yourself during the challenge?
That I can say what I need to say, how I feel on different situations, that I need to not worry about what everybody else is thinking of me, but what I need to think about myself.
Dang, that is power.
Yeah. And it's been great. I've been, go out to a weekly thing and play cornhole, and a bunch of people there, they've noticed a little difference in me as far as, I haven't become an arrogant person, but I have been able to speak freely and not worry about, well, they might not like what I say, or I'm respectful. Yeah. So, and then family, it's like I walk with a little bit more pride in myself because I know what I have accomplished and I know what I can.
And what do you think about the challenge helped you kind of get into that state?
It's like I said before, the challenge makes you think more about yourself and what you have accomplished in your life and what you know you can accomplish moving forward. And instead of thinking outside the box as far as what does a stranger down the road think of you. That, for me, that's the way it is. I don't know, everybody is not exactly the same, but I took it as, because I've always worried about what people thought of me. I'm a firm believer, like I said in one of my dares, that actions speak louder than words. And so right now, I think about the actions, but the actions with myself.
How do you think you'll approach things differently now that you're in this good place?
I think I will pay attention more to my values and my goals, and do not let anyone outside that's not going to help me reach those goals to influence me in my decisions and stuff like that. I really believe that I have allowed that several times in several different relationships or whatever, and it's caused me not to reach my goals. So right now I'm focused on them and what I plan to achieve.
And we talked a little bit before we hit record, and we were talking about how it's a free challenge. And I was excited because by you being able to share your celebration, not only are we able to talk about the challenge, it helps me come up with ways to improve and things that you guys like that I keep, but also it helps new people that may be scared to death of doing something like this. And then do you remember what you said when I said it was free? And when you answered, I was like, wait, save that.
Yeah, it's monetarily free, but it's not free because it challenges you to go out of your comfort zone.
I really like that because that's what this whole thing is designed to do. And it's interesting when people join, that's the number one reason they join, whatever the challenge is. And you wouldn't even think that, right? When you join a Do the Thing, Find Your Voice challenge, I think a lot of people didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't knowing what to expect when I first did it. I took it from the title, and my thought process was, okay, find your voice. Well, for me, my voice has always been hidden. So for me, it was actually, I did find my voice. As a man, it's very difficult. For me, it's always been difficult to find my voice. Growing up, I went through some issues, stuff like that. And then through my adult life, I've allowed my voice to be set aside. So for me, it was finding my voice. It's just the every aspect of that with it.
So good. So what do you think advice would be for someone that is looking at the challenge and they are thinking of joining and they're just nervous? What would be a way for you to encourage them?
I have to say that everybody's going to be nervous when they start something new. And if you're not nervous, then you don't need to be there, basically, because you've already mastered whatever it is that we're challenging. When you're nervous and you reach down in your gut and you get past that nervousness, that's when you start gaining the knowledge that you need and achieving the goals that you want and stuff like that. But if you're not nervous, then you don't need to be there. The find your voice thing, if somebody is comfortable with their voice and stuff like that, and they're not nervous, yeah, they could do the challenge, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything is, but a person that is nervous and kind of scared to start this challenge, I guarantee you will get more out of it than a person that's not.
There's something else you said in the celebration party that we did with the Zoom with everyone. And I'll try to remember it exactly, or at least close to it. But it was something about how you don't know, and we're talking about future challenges now. Like, you don't know if you want to write a book and you don't know if you want to start a podcast, but you're definitely going to join those other challenges. And
Yes.
So I'd love to hear more about that, because I think that's something I'm still having trouble articulating, is that these challenges aren't about the thing, it's about the journey. And I feel like you totally got that.
Yeah. Well, I believe with like the start a book challenge, let's just do that. Honestly, will I ever write a book? I can't tell the future, so I don't know for sure. But I know as far as the start of the book challenge is getting your mind in the creative mode and the thought process of what would you write about if you did write a book. So therefore, it opens people's minds as far as, okay, like me, I would write a book about men's health, about men's mental health and stuff like that, because that's open to me. And then I'd write a book about substance abuse, So it kind of opens you up to your inner core self for the start a book. Now, to start a podcast is a little different. Is a challenging thing. Would I ever start a podcast? No. Now, I don't know a whole lot about podcasts, so I'm not going to say it could be getting people out of their comfort zone to be a speaker, to talk to people, to get out there. And just because if you just do a podcast from your home, eventually you'll get to the point where you can go out in public and just talk to anybody instead of sitting at a table by yourself, having a beer or having a drink at a bar and waiting for somebody to approach you. So I believe those challenges will help further that way. It may be start a book, but in my opinion, the grand thing of it is start branching out from your core. It may be start a podcast. My opinion is start branching out to be comfortable to talk to strangers.
Yeah, it's so true. It's really, the thing is just the vehicle, and then it evolves. You might, as you're doing it, you might realize, oh, actually, maybe I do want to do this, or something new could come from it.
Maybe you might not be able to write a book, but you can probably write in the newspaper articles or something. The next Dear Abby can come out of this group.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, because I think I posted it. I posted it in the group, but we're going to do a Get Fit challenge. And I did a challenge before that was a fitness challenge, and it was one of the things, and it was you had to do an outside workout every day. I do a lot of inside workouts, but I don't do a lot of outside workouts. And because there was an outside workout that I had to do, I found myself walking my dog more. I went kayaking. What else did I do? Oh, I went to the beach after I ate dinner. I did all these things I normally wouldn't have done because I had to do this outside workout. And that's another kind of idea about these things is you just don't know once you say yes to it, what's going to happen throughout it, because all these little side things could spurt as you keep your mind open.
Yes. It's like anything, I believe someone, if they set their mind that says they're going to do the thing challenge, regardless of what it is, you treat it like you would your job. I mean, it doesn't take long. Each one of the days, I probably spend 20 minutes. You know what I mean? I mean, we can spend 20 minutes watching TV. So I recommend that anybody that does want to start the challenge to stay committed to it, because the end result will be better than if you don't.
Did you have a certain way you approach them in terms of doing them? Did you have a certain time of day, or was there any way that you held yourself accountable?
No, actually, to be honest, the first couple, I was like, well, just whenever they posted them, whenever you posted them and stuff like that. And then after this third one, I was like scrolling through and waiting for you to post the next one. So I was eager to get them, you know what I mean? I started to get eager, like, wonder what it's going to be. Wonder what I'm going to have to do. I enjoyed it. But then after the 17th one, the 18th day, I was just like, oh man, where'd they go?
I know. That's what everyone was going through, dare withdrawals.
They're there no more.
I know. I'm excited for you to see the next one, because the starter book is going to be structured pretty similarly, and it's going to help you get into, like you said, your head, and in terms of getting things to just come out more freely. And I think having done the Find Your Voice challenge first, it was a great kind of warm up for this, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm excited for it too, because I mean, I have a creative mind already, because I woodwork and of course I decorate Christmas houses and stuff like that. But to put it on a book, I would never have thought that I could do that. Not saying I won't, but it's exciting for me because I have that creative mind.
Yeah, that's exciting. I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
Did you have any, when you were going through this challenge, because I know some people did do the dares, the extra part of the dare with going outside the circles, with going up to someone and asking the question. Did you have any thought of doing that, or were you like, okay, I'm only going to do it myself?
I thought about it a few times, but then, to be honest, I was being kind of selfish, because I thought I went into this for myself. Not saying I went in to find my voice. That's why I went in there. And as I progressed through there and met some people in there and talked to some of them and communicated on how I thought, whether they thought, and it became a great friendship with a lot of them. But as far as an outside world, family or friends or something like that, I didn't think about asking any of them the dares and stuff like that. Now, I did tell my sister about it. Me and my sister, I have a younger sister. She's a year younger. I did inform her of the challenge and let her know how it was going and stuff like that. But as far as asking other people, I didn't, and I didn't think about it.
Yeah, just curious. Yeah, I figured, I was kind of thinking if someone had been a regular do the thinger, it would be easy, right? Because they've already sort of been stretching the comfort zone. And so I'm just curious, as a brand new person, how that felt for you in terms of seeing it like that.
Yeah. And I'm sure if there was another one, I could probably do that. Even when we start a book, if there's parts that we have to go outside and, somebody else, I might be more comfortable in that.
Yeah.
Because it will be my second challenge. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to see it for sure. There may be the circles again. I was curious too, what were some of your favorite dares?
Oh, I do remember the love note to myself, my future self. That was a good one. Well, what am I doing when I'm the happiest? That's my little girl. I've got a 10-year-old daughter, and she's just the world stops for her. So So those are my top ones, I'd have to say. Then, of course, Darren and I was, what would you celebrate today? After this challenge I've been through, I've noticed little things that I can celebrate every day. And if nothing really happens that day and I'm laying in bed at night, going to sleep and thinking about it, I'm thinking, well, you know what? I woke up. That's what I can celebrate today.
And did you notice anything when you were doing the dares? And it's funny, I almost came up with a better name as this challenge was going. I like that, which I think it might sound funny, but in my mind, it's really freeing your mind, right? You have all these thoughts in your head that are running through your head all day long. And once you can do it in a way that we did, it almost like a voice journal note. It comes out of your head and that's how you get into your heart. And so how did you feel when you got voted for the champion for the Find Your Voice Challenge?
Oh, very humbled, I was excited, and I was glad that my words were able to reach everybody in some way. That wasn't my original intentions. I was glad that I did, but a couple of them have reached out to me and we've talked about their situation and about my situation. I'm just glad that I could have shined some light on others as far as what they were feeling and how I was feeling, and then that hopefully it let them see a different aspect of however they were taking the questionnaire. How they would answer it is differently how I would answer it, so that it made them think, wait a minute, my answer was X, Y, and Z when I didn't think about A, B, and C. So
how did you feel with knowing that and I know you're doing the dares for yourself, but then after it's posted and then seeing the response you got where it was just overwhelmingly connecting with people, and I feel like just because your words had so much depth and meaning that it just made them feel something, and you were able to then give that gift of just being able to share yourself with people. How did that feel?
Well, it felt good. It felt, like I said, it wasn't my intentions when I started this. I knew in the group, everybody had their own reasonings for me there, and whatever reasonings those were those reasons. I took it as, well, I appreciate it that I'm there to help everyone see the inside of me and how I responded, because I'm a deep thinker. I may not be a deep talker all the time, but I'm a deep thinker. So when I took each dare, along with immediately answering it, but yet going in depth of why I answered that way, it helped me realize that I can help people by their comments, even solidified it.
And I'll speak to the listeners now too, and I'd love to also hear your thoughts on it. But when I started this group, Do the Thing Dating Dare Challenge group, and basically it was spurred off of this idea of everyone being on these apps, the dating apps, and getting sucked out and exhausted and depleted just from the constant, never-ending, same old kind of thing that was happening. And so then I was like, great, I'm going to give people a new way to meet people. And you'll see this challenge coming up in the summer. It's really fun. It's called the Dating Dare Challenge. And I give different dares to get people to really go out of their comfort zone and meet people in real life. And what I noticed after doing 2 of these challenges was people were still sucked out. It's exhausting after going through divorce or being a widow and just now being on your own and having this reset and then being on these dating apps. It was just still, I'm doing these levels, which is hard for the podcast, but they were still just not full yet. Yeah. And that's where the Find Your Voice Challenge was really, actually it started with, I was going to do the Start a Podcast Challenge. And then I realized that was too far outside of people's comfort zones at the moment. So then I started the Find Your Voice as a bridge for that. And that idea was then to just get people to be fuller so that when you do meet someone, you're meeting someone with where you are now. Because if you meet someone when you're down low, they're going to be at that same level. But if you meet someone when you're fully nourished and fully full, then you're meeting someone at that level.
Yes. And I agree with that. I agree. Like I said, it's more about when you're in the dating world that I believe, my personal opinion is you're always looking for somebody you want somebody to accent you and your goals and your values and stuff like that. But we don't normally always find that. So sometimes we take our own goals and our own values and we put them aside because we want to feel that love. We want to feel that connection. We want to feel that somebody who loves us will say they love us. But with this, it's more like I want to find somebody at that level, because Yeah, I might find somebody at the level down here, real down low, but they're not going to value me if I get up here. And that's where I want to be. So
What was the hardest dare for you to do? Did you have one that was really challenging?
the love note to myself was really challenging at first. It was because I really didn't. I wanted to be true to myself, but I didn't know how to articulate that the way I did. I eventually did, but that took a while for me to do. It wasn't something I just, that was several typing it out, deleting it, typing it out, deleting it, typing it out, deleting it. So I really wanted to be a genuine letter to myself in the future. If I was writing a letter to my grandmother, the person that I love the most, one of the most wonderful person in the world, I wanted to be able to express how I'd feel to her, but to myself.
How did you get through it? How did you get yourself to do it?
Just do it. There was yeah, there was a couple things that I would say and they're like, no, that's kind of stupid. Let me erase that, but it was just jump feet first. To me, what's the worst can happen? It's a love letter to myself. So it wasn't like I was writing a love letter to somebody that I'm dating or something like that. Then I don't want to say something to upset them or nothing like that. So, but yeah, it was just go all in. Either go all in or don't go at all.
You had mentioned in the celebration Zoom also that you were going to do these dares for yourself. I think it was every month. I'd love to hear more about that and what got you to even think about that.
Well, because I wanted to continue it as far as my thought process on each one of the dares. So I took all my answers that I had answered online, and I had put them on a spreadsheet, or I put them on a Word document, and then I just took the questions themselves and put them on a different one. And then in about a month, which is coming up soon, I'm going to re-answer them day by day. And each day that I answer them, I'm going to compare notes as far as how I was the time before, what I answered it, and how I think now. Because life is different now. Life is different now. When you go through these challenges and you start thinking about yourself and stuff like that, as you grow through it, life is different now. I don't walk out the door thinking the same thing I used to think. Besides your normal everyday thought process, as far as I got my keys, got my phone, got my wallet, But when you confront people and you talk to people and you be around people, it's different. For me, it is.
I'd love to hear also, what is your interpretation of what do the thing mean? What does do the thing mean to you?
Do the thing is to me, I interpret it as just do it. It's like a Nike slogan, just do it. Just get out there and it's like I said before, if you're nervous, then you need to do it. If you're not nervous, then you don't need. Not saying you can't or shouldn't, but so just do it. Just get out there and jump off feet first. Goes back to dating and goes back to all that. We've all been heartbroken a time or two. But like one of your shirts says, did you die? No, we didn't. We're still here. We're still breathing. So just get out of your comfort zone has always put you in a certain place. And if you're in the position that you're in and you think the way you think, you're not where you want to be. Well, how do you get where you want to be? You have to get out of your comfort zone. So you just have to do it. Now think about it. Just do it.
Do you have any thoughts on anything that could be improved for future challenges or anything that could even make it better?
Actually, I did with the survey, but I don't remember what it said. Oh, there's more of when you do a dating dare, I believe, have people go out and instead of just typing on the computer and sitting at home, get out there. Hey, I dare you to go check a book out in the library or go volunteer at the homeless shelter for Thanksgiving or whatever timeline it is, or go to church and sit somewhere you never sat before next to somebody, or just small dares like that. Somebody wants to go out and give a speech or something like that, then that's how they can interpret that. But
yeah, I like that. Okay, so your time is here, Jeremy. Are you ready?
Okay.
What would be your number one piece of advice for people on doing the thing?
My number one advice would be, it's like I said before, just do it. Just get out there, get away from your comfort zone. Because if you're in your comfort zone, you're not where you think you want to be. If you stay in that comfort zone, you're going to stay where you think you not want to be. So in order to do that, you have to branch out. You have to do the thing, whether it's find your voice, whether it's start a book, whether it's start a podcast. It's just, we're all a big family here now. And as people grow and the family grows and stuff like that, we're all here to help each other grow. And to have that community is supporting you and valuing your thoughts on different things. It's wonderful because you don't have that ridicule or anything like that. So just get out there. It's not the end of the world. But did you die?
I'm also wondering, hear you talk, I have to ask this question. How do you think you are able to approach things with such an open mind?
Probably because when everything is, I always double think. I'm an overthinker. I'm a major overthinker. And I always think different things, how different people will react to different things. I know I'm unique in my own way, but I understand you might react in a different way. But for some reason, my whole life, I've always been challenged by, should I think it this way or should I think it that way? Everything I ever do, I always try to look for both sides of it. It's just something natural I've always done. I really don't know. I mean, I'm very critical of myself when I do things, but I'm not judgmental towards anybody else because everybody lives their own life their own way. My main motto on that is always, no matter what, every time I close my eyes, I sleep alone, whether there's somebody beside me or not. So I have to value myself over everything. But when it comes to just normal everyday life, I try to think of everybody else's situation as not mine. So trying to keep an open mind.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wish I did or anything else that you want to share?
Start in May or March 22nd or 23rd, I go talk to the recovery center, to the boys at the recovery center. I have a 30-minute window, and I am really nervous about that one because I'm not a public speaker, but I believe, it's like you said in most of your Facebook or lives, once you start doing it, and it'll just come out. And that's what my plan is. So when I write my speech, I'm not going to write with just the first paragraph, and then I'm going to let myself take over. And hopefully I can reach some of them boys, some of the men and stuff like that, because I went through a pretty tough time in the mid to late 90s, self-induced, pretty tough time. But I went through and I cleaned myself up on my own. I had moved out of state. And then it's been amazing every day I wake up since then.
Incredible. I can't wait to hear. Yeah, just feel free to keep in touch with me I know we're going to be in the group, but feel free to keep in touch with me on that progress too.
I will. It's just the first one. Hopefully they'll want me to do it again. If I want to do it again, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be incredible to have that experience too, for you and for them. What a gift.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
I hope it will. I hope I can touch a lot of them because it's not the path they need to go. There's better at life out there.
Well, yeah, and just to see someone who's walked through it and that's come out on the other side, and it's just what an inspiration you are to them. That it's hard to connect sometimes to people when they have no idea what you're going through. Yeah. When you've actually walked that and you've come out, it's just such a different speech that you'll give than someone that has no idea what they've gone through. Yeah,
that's not been through that process. And some of these counselors and some of these people in these places, I think, as far as that work there, they haven't been through that. So they can't relate in an in-depth part of it. They can just say, well, that's bad for you. It's like our non-smoker telling a smoker, well, quit smoking.
Yeah, there's no connection point. Whereas with you, you have an immediate one.
So I'm hoping that will lead to progress into more, and then we'll go from there.
So exciting. So do you have any way people can keep in touch with you or follow along on your journey?
Well, of course, I am in the Do the Thing. I will make a commitment to be in every one of those from here on out. So I don't know if I have a Do the Thing. I need to get Do the Thing committed for all. So
I love that.
Commit myself. But they can reach out to me on Facebook if they want to. My Facebook is open. I'm eager to talk to anybody, if I can help or give advice, or they have some advice for me. I'm accepting just as well as giving. So,
and actually, you just made me think. I am just slightly percolating the idea now of making a more Do the Thing challenge host, someone that runs challenges or co-runs challenges. Like you saw Pamela, she's going to be running the next one with me, and then Natalie had run a book club challenge. So would there be any challenges you'd be interested in doing that with?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to go more in depth of what I'll be doing, but oh yeah. I mean,
okay, cool.
As long as I can get out there and help people,
yeah,
be a part of that. Oh yeah.
The idea has been planted. Now record a voice note.
Okay.
Well, congratulations on winning the Do the Thing, Find Your Voice Challenge champion. So exciting. And yeah, I appreciate just your contribution to the community and just everything you show up for. It's been really incredible to see your growth throughout the process.
Well, I mean, I greatly appreciate you having that and you starting that. It's been an inspiration to me, and it's helped me a lot more than I could articulate or go into. We'd spend hours, but it's wonderful. It's amazing, and I've met such good people in there, and I look forward to meeting new ones.
And here's to a future Do the Thing retreat. We'll see how that goes.
Oh yes,
you could meet in person.
Yes, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Well, thanks to the listeners for joining, and go out there and do the thing.